Insomniacs, it's Kurious Cyclopes
and Steve,
and we are back to give you some more content. I am sorry about our hiatus. That's totally all my fault. If you saw our last episode when we covered Back Road, you see that I unfortunately broke my tooth right out of my face. And I gotta say, after we did our little guest spot for Back Road, go watch it. You'll see Ryan and Drew pointing and laughing at me right in the beginning. And you know what? If anyone's gonna take the blame, it really should be them. So you guys, this is all your fault. But no, but really, I was like, we'll take a break from the show, and then I'll go get my tooth fixed, and then, we'll get back to it. Well, guess what? There was a lot of good horror Blu-ray releases since then. And of course, I had to buy them all, so I never got around to getting a new tooth. But I'm over it now. I mean, since I go to horror events and shit, people have seen me, and I was like, fuck it. I might as well put myself back out there. And also, Parker, I'm not going to say his whole name on Facebook, but Parker, one of our good fans, has been harassing me nonstop about making more episodes, which is a good thing. I'm glad that someone cares.
Yeah.
Because we still have a small amount of subscribers, which it doesn't matter that much. We do this for fun. But hey, thanks for getting on my ass. And Brian Pacheco, I don't know how to say your name. You were also rooting for us to come back too. So thank you so much for caring. But on top of that, besides breaking my tooth, I broke my laptop. I broke some of my lights. So if things aren't quite up to par, give us some time to get resituated. Steve obviously is going to be taking over editing duties because he still has everything in working function. I'm going to have to work on getting some stuff again. But hey, we're here to talk about Stranger Things Season 2.
Yes.
Especially because Season 3, it's sneaking up on us quick.
It's about a week and a half away now.
Yeah, and as you know, we're big fans, so we got to talk about Season 2. All right, so, are you ready, Steve?
I'm ready, man.
All right. So, I want to say, when we first saw the ad, they saw our reaction to the commercial.
Yeah, the Comic-Con trailer.
Yeah, where they used the Vincent Price from the Thriller.
So cool.
It just seems so Halloween-y, and it sucked us right in. Well, guess what? Season 2 did not disappoint, and that's something we were worried about, but it did not disappoint. So right from the get-go, they start right off in the arcade, and, they're playing. So, it just was great to see those video games that, as 90s kids, we didn't get to experience those, like Dragon's Lair, which most people were curious about that one when they saw it. But, it was really cool. So they're playing games and all that. Not very long into it, you see Will, all of a sudden, he's snapping back and forth in the from the Upside Down back into reality, which you saw at the very end of Season 1. Yeah. But it's still happening, and he's at the arcade with his buddies. All of a sudden, everyone's gone, everything's dark, and it looks like snow falling from the sky, which is actually, I guess, some weird pollen shit that has to do with the Upside Down.
Yeah, it's weird. You see it throughout like the whole season, but they don't ever really explain what it is.
Yeah, but and then what happens? He goes outside and he's like, "What the fuck? Like, what's going on?" And he sees this giant creature in the sky. So, Steve, what the fuck is this creature?
At that point, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
From watching the rest of the season, we'll find out that that's the Mind Flayer, or the Shadow Monster, as the kids call it.
Yeah, and something, Steve, so you play Dungeons & Dragons with your friends, right?
A little bit, yeah. I just started, like, within the last 6 months.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I have some friends that play it, too. But obviously, I don't really have knowledge about the names of the creatures and the characters, but I found out eventually, obviously through Google, because I wanted to read more about the Demogorgon, that the Demogorgon was actually in the Dungeons & Dragons games in one of the editions.
Right.
Well, it turned out the Mind Flayer was too. And it's funny because at first, we kind of just assumed they were totally original monsters.
Yeah, I had kind of figured that they were just things that they were like, oh, we'll fit them into the lore of D&D for the show, but they're not actually part of D&D. But D&D, it's so expansive,
And
dude.
for the record, the creature designs are totally different than how they look in the D&D manuals and all that. But it's just a cool nod, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the time it takes place when those kind of games were way more popular.
Right.
But, it was cool seeing that new creature, because that was the big hype thing. Like, what the hell is that thing? Because it's like a kaiju, guys. It's like up in the sky.
Yeah.
So, that was a great way to suck you right in. But before we continue talking about our favorite parts and funny parts and what we didn't like so much, we want to talk about something very interesting that happened on Beyond Stranger Things. So, in the second episode for Season 2 on Beyond Stranger Things, the host was pretty much asking, how did you guys come up with that genius beginning of having it in the arcade? So, Steve, what the hell am I talking about here? Tell them what happened, because I found it hilarious, and I was a little shocked to see this.
Yeah, so when he asked that, the Duffers are real quick to be like, oh yeah, we had always known that we wanted to start in an arcade, and right away the kid who plays Dustin, Gaten Matarazzo, he's like, hold on, I gotta, you guys always deny this, but it was actually me and Finn, the kid who plays Mike, who came up with this idea. We said, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had an arcade and we were all hanging out there? And the Duffers get real kind of snotty with the kid.
You could tell they were annoyed.
Yeah.
I think for the rest of the show, it caused a tension between them.
Yeah.
And it's funny, because this happens in the episode, but I wanted to see other people's reactions about that. So, of course, I Google argument between them over the arcade thing. I didn't really find any articles just about that, but I thought it was a big deal, because I was like, wow. Even though this really happened on the episode, I'm surprised they left that in there.
Yeah.
Because it's not every day you see grown men fighting with child actors.
Right.
But yeah, they were arguing about who came up with the arcade scene. So eventually the Duffer Brothers were like, okay, fine, it was your idea. And then they kind of rolled their eyes.
Yeah, but even then the first brother who says that, then the second one is like, oh yeah, it did sound like a great idea, right? I wonder who came up with that, and like takes a sip of his drink, like just being kind of snarky.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And obviously, I could believe Dustin when he says that they're the ones that came up with that.
Sure.
You know why? Especially their age, when we were kids, the only time we would see arcades is super rare. We would see them on the boardwalk in New Jersey, which they still are because it's a boardwalk.
Right.
We would see them at the bowling alley, House of the Dead, and other games because it's a fucking bowling alley. And Skate Away, which is kind of a ghost town, I'm sure, these days.
Yeah.
But those places had arcades, but literal just standalone arcades, that wasn't really a thing with us as 90s kids as much as it was in the 80s, where arcade was a huge thing. And why I'm saying that is because since these younger kids, which are their age, they didn't have arcades pretty much at all. So, of course, they think it's fucking cool. And they're like, oh, I wish those were still around. Like, I wish there was still little video game buildings where you just go in and play games. But obviously with consoles, the demand probably isn't as high. But of course, I could believe that the kids were like, you know what? It would be awesome if they did it in an arcade.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone knows about arcades. Even the Generation Z knows about arcades. So I believe them when they said that they're the ones that came up with that. All right, so something else that was pretty linked to the arcade scene. Dustin, he loves playing Dig Dug. He had, I guess, the highest score on the machine. But he goes to check it. Someone took his place. Someone with the nickname of Mad Max. So now this is a nice innocent mystery of who the hell is this Mad Max?
Right.
Nothing really is going on too much except to Will Flesh and back and forth.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to find out who's Mad Max, who beat my score. They got to know. Well, it turned out to be a new character, and they were surprised that it was a girl. And guess what? Right from the start, I loved her. I thought it's great. They got a girl in the crew now, and I just think she fits in perfectly. So Mad Max is a new character, and we love her. We might as well go right into this. What came with the Mad Max package?
Her unfortunate douchebag stepbrother, Billy.
Yeah. Okay, we know girls, even from Season 1, they thought Steve was pretty cute. For some reason, even some of our girlfriends think that now Bill is the big new hunk on the block.
Yeah.
As a straight man, I can still judge attractiveness. I think Steve is way more suave than Bill. Bill is
I agree.
Kind of a muscle milk drinking douchebag, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As a character.
Plus, he's supposed to be like a high school age teenager, right? But all you ever see him doing is smoking cigarettes and drinking beer and like lifting weights and shit. It's like you can't do 2/3 of those things legally.
Yeah. But you know, maybe in the 80s it was easier to just get a pack of cigarettes. But, you know, he's supposed to be a badass. And it's interesting, because we'll get into this a bit later, but he almost took Steve's role as the bully on the block.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? He kind of replaced that. But, so before we get into Steve, we're going to talk about something that happened pretty, I guess, early on in the show. 11, she meets someone that she almost thinks of as a sister because it turns out there was other kids that were being experimented on and shit at the Hawkins facility, I guess you would call it. So she meets a character called 8 eventually, but they kind of just throw her at you. Do you want to explain kind of the episode? It's just so random how it starts, you know?
Yeah, well, we see 8 right away in the season. She's actually the character that opens the season. Cold open, we don't know who she is. She's in a van being chased by cops and then collapses a bridge in front of them, and they look, and all of a sudden nothing happened. So it's like, what the fuck? Then they just break into the show. But once we meet her through 11, we kind of find out that she doesn't have the telekinetic abilities that 11 does. She is able to make people either see whatever she wants them to see or not see anything she doesn't want them to see.
Yeah, she's pretty much, I would call her like a master of illusions.
Yeah.
And a lot of people picked up on this right away, but because of this new introduction to character, and now they're saying, oh, there's probably a bunch of other numbered kids out there, whether they're a little older or around 11's age. But people were saying this is starting to feel like X-Men.
Right.
With the whole mutants on the run thing. Some of them are living a troubled lifestyle because they don't know what to do. Some of them, you know, like 11 are on the good side that we think is the good side, of course.
Right.
But a lot of people were, including myself, I wasn't a huge fan of 8.
No, I mean, I just don't think she really added all that much to things, and she was more of like a dead stop to the story that you were already invested in. Like at the point where they break into that episode, the episode before is literally when the demo dogs are starting to attack the Hawkins lab.
Yeah.
Like it's pure tension, and the episode ends and you're like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode and we're gonna get to see what happens. And then instead you see 11 going to find her sister and shit, and you're like,
because she thinks since we're similar and we went through some of the things, maybe I could be, you're the only thing I have compared to a family besides my friends. But then it just didn't work out because, you know, 8 wasn't as righteous.
Yeah, no,
as
she's
11.
definitely
She does
she's definitely on the wrong side of the law and shit.
But yeah, it was interesting how they went from the demo dogs right to that. And by the way, the Demogorgon dogs are really fucking cool. The Demogorgon, just as being one character in Season 1, that was enough.
Oh, yeah.
But now, if you like that, you're going to love Season 2, because there's a lot of Demogorgon action. So, yeah, 8 was okay, and I hope they don't focus too much on finding the other numbered people, because if that becomes a focus of the show, I'm not going to be a big fan of that. But hey, so let's get to Steve. Big fan favorite. I hated him in Season 1.
Oh, he was such an asshole.
Sometimes he was on the right side, like smashing, what's-his-face's camera.
Oh, you know, Jonathan, yeah.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been taking pictures.
Right, yeah.
Of Nancy, is her name. So, you know, but overall, Steve was kind of the douche, the bully of Season 1. In Season 2, they did something kind of that became an unexpected huge hit with everyone. Do you want to go a little bit into what happened? And his nickname, what he's known as now?
Yeah. Well, he kind of gets shafted early on this season where him and Nancy go to a party and she basically like is drunk in the bathroom and is like, this relationship is bullshit and I don't love you and blah, blah, blah. So right away you feel for him. And then rather than like turning him into more of an asshole from that or whatever, they decided to take it in the complete opposite direction, and he starts like hanging out with and helping Dustin and the kids, and he almost becomes their like babysitter.
Yeah. I keep hearing babysitter Steve, dad Steve.
Yep.
Both of those, and that's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
Now that Bill is in town and he's the asshole, he's pushing Steve around a bit. And Steve, he's kind of breaking character in a way. Not really, but his character's changing to the point where now you see him hanging out with the kids, helping out the kids, protecting the kids.
Yeah.
Later on in the season, you even see him trying to protect Dustin with a spiked baseball bat. But we're going to talk about why in just a second. So, before we get into that, I want to talk about, remember how we said the teaser, it felt really Halloween-y?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the awesome trick-or-treating scene?
Oh, yeah.
First of all, let's talk about how awesome were those Ghostbusters costumes?
Dude, so cool.
And you want to talk about the little Ghostbusters joke that they were arguing about? Oh, I don't want to be here. Tell them about all that. It was funny.
No, nobody wanted to be Winston out of the group, and that Lucas actually gets mad because they suggest to him that he should be Winston, and of course he makes the connection of like, oh, because I'm black.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's why I gotta be him. And then he kind of was like, okay, I guess I shouldn't be so pushy about this. Because they had the same character. Like, they had the name badges the same. So that was funny. But, everyone's having a fun time. It's all fun and dandy. Then these, like, asshole older kids come by and they scare Will.
Yeah.
And just so happens that after they scare him, he gets flashed into another Upside Down episode. And guess what? He's all alone in the streets. He looks up, the Mind Flayer is there. And I think that was maybe one of the first times the Mind Flayer really almost noticed him.
Yeah.
And it was really coming for him.
And I think that also led to a really cool thing later when his mom watches the videotape of them trick-or-treating back, and she actually sees in the static Mind Flayer. I thought that was a really cool scene.
Yep. Yeah, that was fucking awesome. Like, they had the silhouette imprinted, and it matched up with his crayon drawings that he said, oh, it's nothing, it's just drawings or whatever. So that was really cool. So it came out around Halloween, and it really felt like a nice Halloween show.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Perfect timing. So speaking of the Demogorgons, we were saying they have a lot of presence in this. So Dustin, he found a little pet, but it's cute, it's harmless. He starts taking care of it, keeping it in a box, loses it at school, looking in the bathroom. It turns out this little pet of his, it's a Demogorgon, and it's very infantile state. But as it gets older and stuff, it's starting to become a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
But his name was Dart, right?
Yeah, he named it D'Artagnan because it liked Three Musketeers candy bars, but then shortened it to Dart.
Mm-hmm. And as he started to get bigger, from what I recall, and then Dustin got scared and kind of put him in his basement.
Yeah, that was after it killed his cat.
Oh! Yeah, that's kind of something we should mention. Yeah, apparently it ate his cat. Did it eat? Did it really eat it? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, so
I haven't seen it since it came out. So.
He, like, tricks it out into the shed, and then when it comes out, he, like, knocks it with a hockey stick into his, like, little storm cellar.
Yeah, and then he doesn't know who to turn to. You can't turn to the adults with this kind of shit. So what does he do? Babysitter Steve, help me out. I'm in a crunch. I think there's a Demogorgon locked up in my basement. So he shows up, gets his I believe that's when he make the spiked baseball bat.
Yeah, I think he had it from last year.
Oh, okay.
Because he asks him, he goes, "Hey, do you still have that spiked bat?"
Right. And that was I remember now. That was a big hype moment because the bat is back.
Yeah.
Too. So that was really cool. So we've been talking a lot about them. What about Hopper? He's been a fan favorite since season 1.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about him and 11. What's been going on with them?
So we saw him at the end of season 1, leaving food in some random box in the middle of the woods,
Eggos,
right? Yeah.
11's favorite.
So we kind of see what that progressed into. That she was taking the food, and then she ended up actually coming to him, and he took her in, and they rebuilt this whole cabin, and he was basically secluding her from society because he was telling her that it wasn't safe for her to be out there, and the more people who knew about her, the more danger they were both in.
And in all fairness, I'm pretty sure Hopper was being watched.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So
because he was he was working with people in the Hawkins lab, remember?
And obviously 11 is still missing. They're still trying to find her. They don't have any evidence or proof that Hopper's hiding her, but that's why he's being so protective.
Right.
But obviously she's upset, she's lonely, she wants to see her friends again. And dude, poor Mike, he's wondering, where the fuck is she?
Yeah.
And it really tugged at my heartstrings when he would go on the walkie-talkie now and then and have hope and be like, if you're listening and you're out there, please, like, tell me something so I know you're okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. I'm just saying, in general, there's so much rich stuff that happens in this season. But, eventually 11 gets annoyed. Sometimes Hopper's showing up late, and she really wanted to go out trick-or-treating, just like any kid her age. He wouldn't let her go out. He's like, how about this? After work, I'll come home with a big bag of candy. We'll watch some horror films. It's just like, all right, that sounds like a good time. He got tied up because a bunch of pumpkins in the field are, getting killed off, and he has to find out what the hell's going on. So she gets upset, eventually runs away and all that. And I believe that's when she met Abe and all that. So, but let's talk about that. Hopper's whole investigation with all these pumpkins that are just rotting and dying, and obviously people are losing money. The farmers are losing money. It seems like the Upside Down, it's been trickling into the real world and taking over. Pretty much it opens up a big mine shaft, pretty much. So, that was a really insane part. Hopper goes down there, checks it out. Oh, God, it just looked amazing. So, I want to talk about Billy. So, Mad Max and Lucas, it seems like they're kind of, getting close, getting friendly, maybe possibly like each other.
Yeah, there's definitely a weird, triangle where you can definitely tell Dustin and Lucas both kind of have a thing for her.
And that's always tough when it happens amongst friends. But we know one thing for sure. Mad Max and Lucas, when Billy sees them together, he does not like it one bit. And you could possibly assume maybe he just doesn't want a guy hanging around his sister. Or maybe it bothers him that a black boy is hanging around his sister. There could be some racial stuff. They don't say anything explicitly like that, but it could be suggested. But, that caused a lot of trouble for them. Because, Billy pretty much threatened Lucas and said to Mad Max, if I see you hanging around with these guys again, they're going to fucking get it.
Right.
So, again, as you told me earlier, he's like he's like their age, they're around their age, he's like a peer of theirs, but he is now a villain.
Oh, yeah.
That has nothing to do with all the supernatural shit going on.
Yeah, not at all.
So that added a whole new dynamic to the show. But pretty much everything we discussed so far, those were some highlights for us. And obviously the 8 thing we weren't so crazy about.
Yeah.
How about Will? What happened with Will almost getting possessed by a mind flare and attached to that cavern that opened up underground?
Yeah, this poor kid just can't get a fucking break.
Yeah.
And
that's literally what I was saying when I first saw it.
Yeah. So, when he sees the mind flayer for the 3rd time, I think, out on the football field, it's after Bob, his mom's boyfriend, gives him the whole speech of hey, when I used to have bad dreams about this clown that scared me, that I used to run from him, and that eventually one day I didn't run, and I just stood there and I yelled at him, go away, and that was the last time I saw it. So Will tries to employ that tactic on the mind flayer and just yells at it to go away. And as he's yelling at it, it kind of surrounds him in this tornado of shadowy smoke. Yeah.
Wisp of, almost like smoke.
Yeah.
And it starts going into him and taking him over. And Bob, I'm pretty sure there was a little Easter egg saying he came from Derry.
Well, they said Maine.
Oh, Maine.
Yeah, they didn't specify
they didn't say
Derry,
which is Stephen King's go-to place for his stories.
Yeah.
But it could have been a little Easter egg. Obviously, it's not canon that Pennywise was that clown.
Right.
But it's a little nod, which is funny because look at who was in the new It movie.
Right, Finn Wolfhard, yeah.
But, that was a fun little thing. But, Bob, he was a nice character. He was wholesome. He didn't do too much except he ends up kind of sacrificing himself to the Demogorgons. But he was a nice little extra side character, and I'm glad that his mom got to get a romantic interest.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking to a friend about, that when are Hopper and Joyce gonna get together?
Right?
Because there's clearly some tension, and it's now Bob's gone, but not in a way that you wanted to see him gone. He was a good guy. He was vanilla as they come, but he was a good guy, dude. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he did sacrifice himself the way that he did just made him all the better. So I don't think she can really just hop right. No pun intended.
Wow.
But she can't hop right to Hopper right away.
Yeah. All right, so wrapping it up, eventually they decide they got to burn down this upside down little cavern that opened up. And I think before they burn it, is that when 11 tries to close the gateway?
It's
the
a
portal?
diversion tactic almost. So as 11's going to try and close the gate, they realize that all the Demodogs and everything are going to be after her. But if they get into this kind of central location in the tunnel system and set that on fire, that because of the like hive mentality of all the creatures, that they're going to run to try and see what this fire is all about
and to protect it.
Yeah, and get off 11's back.
Because it seems like it's almost like their power source in the town.
Yeah.
That cavern. Only little problem is Will, since he got linked up to the Mind Flayer and all that, he starts burning when they're burning the cavern, and he's like, it burns, it's all over me.
Yeah.
So that was really fucked up, because it's like, well, now what are we going to do? But something interesting that we found out is he would always demand to his mom, like, you know, I don't like the cold, like...
it's the opposite, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't like the...
It's that the creature only likes cold. It
yeah,
doesn't
he
like
only
hot.
likes cold.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the heat. So then eventually she figures out, okay, I'm just going to make a really cold... I'm going to make a really hot bathtub and kind of shock it out of your...
They turn on, like, all, like, space heaters and, like, light a fire and just everything to heat things up as much as possible.
Yeah, so, you know, again, this is the majority of the highs and lows in the show. Let's just talk about the end of the show. After they figure everything out, the gates close. I believe you said 11 was floating up in the air because he just rewatched this.
Yeah, as she like closes the gate, she starts to like levitate.
Yeah, so it seems like all fine and well and dandy. So hey, it's time for the school prom, the little dance.
Yeah, the snowball.
So you know, Dad Steve, babysitter Steve, was trying to give Dustin some tips because he likes Nancy, right? He's like, "What? How do I do the hair thing? How do I do that?" He tells him, "Oh, you got after you leave it damp, you got to put this certain pompadour."
Yeah, the Farrah Fawcett spray.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So you know he does it. He looks like a total geek, and let's just say he ends up alone crying on the bench.
Yeah.
Because you know he tries to go up to girls that he's in class with, and they all laugh at him. But of course, Nancy, being nice, decided to dance with Dustin, and it shut up his confidence.
And she does have a really sweet conversation with him. That's like, oh, you know, you're my favorite of my brother's friends, and you know, these girls these age are dumb, and they're gonna grow up eventually, and you're gonna be a killer.
Yep. But what happened? Eventually, obviously, 11 and Mike got reunited and all that.
Yeah.
She got to go to the dance, which was... You should have seen his face when he saw 11 all dressed up for the dance. So they're having a nice dance, and it's zooming out from the school. What the fuck happened?
And you see the upside-down version of Hawkins Middle School... And, like, as lightning flashes in the sky, the Mind Flayer is literally, like, standing right over the top of the school.
He knows where the kids are. So, yeah. So if you haven't seen Stranger Things 2, now you know why you need to. And seriously, don't fucking wait, because number 3 is coming up super quick.
Yeah.
But we love Stranger Things 2. There were some lows and some characters we didn't like, but overall, it was fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't disappoint, and we're excited and hopeful for Season 3.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I hope you enjoyed our first comeback episode. Big Stranger Things fans. So, we just wanted to share our general thoughts about the second season, all right? Well, that's going to be it for this episode. Hey, thanks for sticking with us, guys.
Yeah, thanks,
Kurious
guys.
Cyclops
and Steve.
And we are back in action.